Hello, guys. My name is Reginald Bass. I'm from Albany, Georgia. Currently reside in Atlanta, Georgia. So we're going to start our courageous talk. We're going to do an activity exploring our racial consciousness. All right, the objective to establish a racial context that is personal, local, and immediate. All right, now we're going to start with a question. All right, and we're going to take 1 minute with this question. All right, the question is as individually write down how much on a scale from 0 to 100 is your life impacted by race. So go ahead and write that down or think about it. I'm going to give you 1 minute, probably 30 seconds. And when you're done, you can just give me a thumbs up. Awesome. So that was, all right, cool. All right, now we're going to divide into small groups to 4 and 5, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to share out. And in your group, you're going to share your percentage with each other and discuss the following questions. What are your highest and your lowest percentage? So let's talk about that now. All right, so let's share out our percentages. I'll go first. I would say for me, I put 75.
I put 25%.
Okay.
I have 60%.
Okay.
I put 100%.
Okay. Awesome. Next question. What is the reason for discrepancy or similarities in our percentage? So that's a discussion question. So I will start first. This is just your thoughts. We're just sharing. This is a safe space. So with that being said, I'll start first. So the reason I would say our answers are all different is because we are different backgrounds. For me, I'm a male. I'm a black male. Um, I'm 6'2". I'm 300 pounds. So when you factor in all of that, um, that's why my percentage is 75. Most times when I come in the room, people look. I don't know what they see or what they're thinking, but they stare, they look. Um, but I'm just a normal person. But once people get over, oh, he's tall, he's big, he's black, he's a male, they're like, okay, they soften up to me. Um, so that's my um, opinion of the percent of my percentage. Anybody else would like to share?
I'll share mine. I kind of look at it. Everybody has their challenges and they've had their struggles in life. I mean, as I'm 5'2", I'm a white kid, and I will say most of my struggles have not had to do with my race. It has not ever been because of me being white. It's been things such as my economic status because I was poor. It just, my struggles didn't, I didn't have to face anything just because of the color of my skin. So I would say my percentage was low.
Okay. I'll share next, if that's okay.
Mhm.
I wrote down 60%. And when Reginald presented the question, I started reflecting from child to adult. And 30%, I would say, so I divided it basically. So I said 30% because as a child, I didn't think much about race because where I grew up, most people looked like me as far as of course, my family, my classmates, my teachers. But as I matriculate through life, I have had experiences where I may have been overlooked for a position. I've been treated differently by superior staff. I've had injustice to happen based off the color of my skin. So I divided mine 30% as a child, 30% as an adult, and that's why I chose 60%.
I kind of had the same thinking as you. I'm mixed. My dad is Mexican, my mom is white. So in a realistic world, and to me, up until I got older, I always thought I had the best of both worlds. I had my Mexican culture, I had my mom's American culture, and it was just the best thing. But out in public or in schools or just in general, I guess when I was with my dad, it was normal. But when I was with my mom, it was, oh, when did you adopt her? Or, who did you get her from? It was never, oh, your daughter is pretty or your daughter is beautiful. It's how'd you get her? Like I don't know how to explain that part. But then as I got older, I was like, how is that something to ask somebody about their child? Like, how did you adopt their child? But just stuff like that. I saw it off of a Selena movie. I put it in my culture biography. When the dad's talking to the kids, we're not Mexican enough for the Mexicans, and we're not American enough for the Americans. So it's just hard trying to find that balance. And the same as you guys, I've been overlooked for position. The only thing that gets me in the door is I'm bilingual. So I do have that advantage. But yeah, I've been in places where I was the only Hispanic person and I got looked at, or I was judged based off my economic status as well. So
Guys, thank you for sharing. Let's keep it moving. So we're almost done. So let's talk about what do you think the outcome of this activity is. I guess I'll start first. So I feel like we all have biases. Some are embedded in us, some we just experience. Um, and I'm going to go back to the title to kind of help us exploring our racial consciousness. So, sometimes we do things and we don't know why we do it, but it's just kind of embedded in us, and we have to check ourselves and ask us, hey, why did I do this? Or why did I think about this? Or why did I come across this way? And it just could be a simple self check. This is why I did it. I need to check myself. Because this all ties into us working with our kids, our students. And our students, they have different backgrounds. Just because they're African American kids, they still have different backgrounds, So just kind of being in tune with uh, why we do what we do, and we're conscious of it.
I think this activity definitely brought awareness of our conscious and how we approach different backgrounds. Even when listening, like Maria, she said she thought the same way that I thought. And if we just take a moment to reflect on how we approach, anyone, and just be conscious about, just our choices, the things that we do and say, we can help eliminate a lot of things that's happening.
And I think it does kind of deepen that understanding, being able to see the different perspectives. I was always raised that we can all look at this notebook the exact same. And you can tell me you see the word Pokemon, but I can tell you I see Pikachu. Depends on what side we're looking at. Like, we can all be looking at the same thing, but depending on our experiences, depends on what side we see it from. Doesn't mean we're wrong. Doesn't mean anyone's wrong. It's just our circumstances define it.
I will definitely say it it definitely opens up more lenses. So I have a lens that I see through, and you guys have the lens that you see through, but we have to be more aware of how I see through my lens and how you guys see through your lenses. And you mentioned about the African American children coming from different backgrounds. I faced that firsthand with my ELLs. Right as of right now, they are predominantly Hispanic, but we have kids from Mexico, we have kids from Guatemala, here
Venezuela.
recently Venezuela. We've gotten a lot from Venezuela, and El Salvador. I went into ESOL thinking, I got this. This is Hispanics. This is me. No, like the things that I do in my family are not the same things that these kids do. They don't have the same traditions. They don't have the same religion. Like I assumed we were all Catholic. We're not all Catholic. They have their own religion. They have their own artifacts that mean certain things to them. We have quinceañeras, but we all celebrate differently. The mass for my party would be different from my students that are from El Salvador or Venezuela. It's just you do have to be conscious. You can't just go in assuming, or I always just say we have to do the if the shoe fits.
Well, guys, thank you for participating in this activity, and to the next person.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'll go next if that's okay.
That's okay. I'll go after you.
Okay. All right. I am Sanikia once again. For this activity, you're going to use your chat box. If you can go ahead and pull it up while I explain what we're going to do. We're going to participate in a privilege walk. Since we're doing it virtually, I am going to modify the activity. If we were in a traditional setting, as I read the statements, you would either step forward or you would step back. But because we're doing it virtually, we're going to use our chat. So as I read these statements, if it applies to you and you have to step forward, I ask that you hit the plus sign and the number 1 and put it in the chat. If you move back, just do the opposite, do -1. So about this activity, it is a reflective activity designed to help us explore how different aspects of our identities shape our experiences with privilege and oppression. During this activity, there's no judging, and I just ask that you be honest. Okay, if you're ready, give me a thumbs up. Awesome. If you have never been followed or harassed while shopping because of your race, take one step forward. If you have ever been the only person of your racial or ethnic group in a room, take one step back. If people never ask you where you are really from, take one step forward. If you can turn on the TV and see people of your race widely represented, take one step forward.
Can you repeat that one for me? I'm sorry.
Yes. If you can turn on the TV and see people of your race widely represented, take one step forward. If you have ever experienced being racially profiled by law enforcement, take one step back. If you never had to worry about where your next meal would come from, take one step forward. If your family owned the home you grew up in, take one step forward. If you had to contribute to your family's income as a child, take one step back. If you had a computer and internet access at home while growing up, take one step forward. If you received free or reduced lunch in school, take one step back. If your parents attended college, take one step forward. If you attended school with up-to-date books and or resources, take one step forward. If you were ever told you wouldn't succeed in school, take one step back. If you had access to books and educational toys as a child, take one step forward. If you were ever discouraged from pursuing higher education, take one step back. If English is your first language, take one step forward. If you ever been made fun of for your accent or how you speak, take one step back. If your cultural traditions are widely recognized and celebrated in society, take one step forward. If you had to translate for your parents or family members, take one step back. Okay, so that concludes the statements. Now, I would like for us to share out and just reflect on how this activity, like, what was there anything that surprised you during this activity?
Yeah, how much, like, even though we're three different races, how many we stepped back at the same time and how many we went forward at the same time, or maybe they went forward on one I wasn't expecting them to, and I went back, and they went back on ones I didn't expect, and I went forward.
Yeah, to add to what she's saying, seem like we've experienced like some of the same challenges. Um, even though we are different, but that kind of links us together.
Y'all said everything perfect. I don't have anything to add.
I was thinking the same thing, like no matter what your background is, we all have had some type of challenges. And I was just thinking, as educators, we have to consider that with our students as well. So that concludes the privilege walk. Thank you all so much for participating.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So awesome.
Okay. Okay, I'll go next. I'm Maria Nito. I teach in West Green Elementary, that's located out in Coffee County. I am the ESOL teacher. I push into the classrooms, so I do serve general ed and the ESOL students. Um, so today we're going to use a method called I used to think, but now I think. So normally you would read a text or watch a TED talk or just have a discussion. Today we're going to use this as a discussion. So I want you to reflect on a moment that you felt excluded or judged based on your race, your culture, your appearance, your status, etc. Then once you've had a chance to reflect, the group will respond using the prompt, I used to think, but now I think. So I'll go first, and I wanted to talk to you guys about my first real and scary racial encounter, and it happened at Walmart. We were in the checkout line, the rapid checkout, 10 items or less, I think is what it is. And there was an older white gentleman in front of me checking out. And this was in between, like, post COVID, like people were still scared, but some people weren't as scared. So there were some people with masks, some people not with masks. Well, this gentleman had on a mask and he just went off. He turned around and started making comments, said that I was a dirty Mexican. I didn't have on a mask. I was spreading my germs. Said I was way too close. We were two carts like apart. Like his cart was there, and then there was a space, and then there was my cart, and I was behind my cart. I wasn't at the edge, of your buggy. I was at where the handles are, and he was at the end of his cart, getting ready to pay or whatever, getting his items finished, checking out. I was fine. I held my tongue. I didn't say anything. I just stood there. But then he kind of just like banged his buggy back towards mine and told me I needed to back up and I needed to get my dirty animals with me, referring to my kids. Once he referred to my kids, I lost it. I'm gonna cry, but he was surprised that I spoke English. So, but sorry, y'all, hold on. I got upset because they got upset. Sorry.
Mm.
Maria,
Hold on.
take a deep breath.
Anyway, he was upset to see that I spoke English. Once he found out that I did speak English, I'm not sure if he was embarrassed or if it just made him even more mad. But I think it made him more embarrassed because I understood everything he was telling me. And the cashier, she reassured me. She told me I was fine. Masks weren't a requirement. And I do understand, he was probably scared for his health, his safety, or whatever, his well-being, because, COVID was killing people. But I have always faced, things, but that was just a scary moment. And it made me think back to other people and their situations that was just a simple situation with me. And I know there's people who have faced far worse encounters. But anyway, I used to think that I was safe. I'm in America. I've always grown up here. I grew up with both languages. I grew up with both cultures. This is my home, I don't know any other home. So for him to tell me to go back where I came from, to pack up my kids and get them where they needed to be, it was hurtful. So now I think that anything can happen to anybody just simply because I am Hispanic or you are of another race or your skin doesn't look like somebody else's skin. And even more now, this was in 2020, but now we have the ICE scares. I could be driving and I'm pulled over just because I am Hispanic or because my skin is a certain color. And we have Americans that are from Canada and Britain and Russia. We have Germans, but they don't have to worry about being pulled over just by the color of their skin. So it is tough. And it is something that we do have to think about. The ICE scares are something that our own students faced this year at West Green. We had I think a week, maybe 3, 4 days, where our students didn't come to school because they were afraid of deportation. The parents were afraid, and the kids themselves were afraid. So we do have to put ourselves in other people's shoes. We don't have the same experiences. And I can say that I am mixed, but I've never had a positive experience like as a white person because my skin is not white, it's brown. So that's another thing to think about when we have our biracial students. I do keep them in mind a lot, and I try to keep what I say separate. But yeah, that's my part. And sorry for the getting
No,
emotional.
no need.
I'm a mama bear when it comes to my babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
But-
the best mama.
Please
The
don't
next-
apologize.
The next person can go whenever you're ready.
I'm gonna keep it short.
Okay.
So for me, I think the first time I experienced, or yes, experience being ignored was when me and my dad went to a car dealership, and we were looking for a car. Um, they looked at us. They just looked at us. And the white guy pointed to the um, cars that were like $5,000 and less. And we just kind of looked, and he looked at us, and he was like, "You guys can go out that way." You know, he didn't say hello. He didn't say any of that. So I'm looking, and my dad, he saw that I was getting upset. He was just like, "Son, just calm down, calm down." So we stood there, and my dad said, "No, we wanted to look at those vehicles." And he was like, "Well, I think you guys can look over there, over there better suit you over there." So 10 minutes done passed. The manager comes out, and the manager asks,
Reggie,
he got us.
Oh, there we go. We got him back.
Oh,
We couldn't hear
oh,
you
he
for a
got-
second.
Oh, sorry. He guided us to some cars that we didn't want to see. We wanted to see the other cars. And the manager basically said, "Oh, okay." Then he said, "Well, let me just run your credit, and then we'll let you know what we can do." My dad said, "Yeah, why don't you do that? Go ahead and run my credit." So the manager came back. He ran my dad's credit. Came back, totally different person.
Oh.
Mr. Bass, you can get anything you want off this lot. And if it's not on this lot, we will get it for you. My dad looked,
Not anymore.
I looked, and I was just upset. I was just like, wow. And my dad said, "You know what? That's okay." And we walked out the door, and the manager, he followed us to the car apologizing.
Hmm.
That was, my dad he worked hard. He experienced a lot of racism. We're from Albany, Georgia. He worked for Water, Gas, and Light. He been spat on. My dad, he's just been through so much with other races, and he was just trying to feed his family, take care of his family. So with that, that kind of put a bookmark in my mind, you know, you know, yeah, as a black man, no matter how hard you work, sometimes, it's not fair how you've been treated. And I know that's with anybody, but I only can speak from my experience. But at the end of the day, the bigger picture is everyone is not the same, and you have to take time out and learn people, who they are, not just because they look a certain color or they act a certain way. You just have to look into that person, look at their heart. So that was the bigger picture for me.
Thank you.
okay. guess I'll go. Okay, so Maria, thank you, Reginald. You had me to really reflect. And I'm going to share a story that Reginald is my brother-in-law.
Mhm.
And so this is a story that he's probably never heard, but when Maria told her story, I realized that I experienced something similar. So a little background. I was married to Reginald's brother who passed away on last year. And
Sorry.
thank you. And I'm gonna get through this, but Reggie gave his description of being 6'2", 300 pounds. So my husband, he was a big guy also. That's him. That's us. And I recall one day, it was after COVID, we were in Sam's with my bonus son, who happened to pass away in 2021. So
Mhm.
this year, Jaden was about 16 when this happened. And once again, everyone's afraid, with not wearing masks and anything. At that, people were going out then. Yes, still afraid because people were dying, like Maria mentioned. But sometimes it's kind of challenging to get younger. It was challenging to get the younger kids to wear their mask.
Definitely.
So we walked into Sam's Club, and it was myself, my big baby, my husband, Charlie, and my bonus baby, Jaden. And he had on his AirPods, and he was just walking, and he got really close to this older white guy. And he said, "Get out the way, boy."
Mm.
And I got upset. And Reggie
Yeah.
will probably be shocked not knowing that his brother was like, "Just get out the way, just get out the way," because that was him. I was like, "No, it's the way you say that.
Mhm.
Kid, you don't talk to a kid like that." And just history, like just being
Boy.
like boy, like that
Mhm.
burnt, like it gets your blood just boiling when you hear that. And I'm like, I'm trying to get in like mom protecting mode. Like, you don't talk to anybody like that.
Mhm.
Our kids to say, "Excuse me." If he was just too close, can you move over? We're just
Mhm.
walking down the aisle. Once again, we know that's not everyone. And
Mhm.
let them, like, sometimes we don't think that you would experience things like that, but it
Yeah.
makes me very mindful of how my tone and how I approach and how I speak to people.
Yes.
All right. So, my experience is a little different. And so, mine's going to kind of go back to like the first time I realized that there was a difference in our skin tone. I know that sounds crazy. Like when I grew up around a lot of races. So, I never really paid color attention because it was something I saw all the time. And so I went to school in our inner city school, which had it was a diverse class. I mean, you had a very good mix between white and black kids in the classroom. And so I remember in third grade, there was this one girl. She was my best friend all through that whole school year. She was a little black girl, and we went on this field trip, and our parents and everything were allowed to go. And me and her were on the playground. We were playing, and she came up to me and she was crying, and I'm like, "Okay, why are you crying?" And she says, "Well, my mama told me I'm not allowed to be friends with you anymore because I'm not supposed to like you."
Mm.
And of course, I'm like, "Wow, why would you not like me? I'm awesome." And and that's whenever like it was brought up that, well, I'm not supposed to like you because you're white. And like this was, I just remember it breaking my 7, 8 year old heart because I had never like that was my first time I'd ever realized that hey, there was a difference between her skin tone and mine, and that families viewed it differently. And so I guess that was this one story.
It just goes to show too that it is taught. It's not, and it's
Yes.
different
Absolutely.
in each household.
Yes.
I won't sit here and say that my Mexican dad hasn't said some things that I don't agree with about other cultures, and the same with my mom. My white mom disagree, and I'm like, you married a Mexican, so it just each of our kids are taught differently. So if we come in and we have a student that may say something, they heard it somewhere before it came out their mouth. They didn't just come up with it.
Yes.
So sometimes that's when we pull them to the side and we say, hey, what you do at home, that's a conversation for home, but let's not bring it to school. It's not appropriate. And we have to help them understand. We can't just say you're a bad person, you're wrong. We've got to, at home, this is how you may talk, but let's find another way or a different approach in the classroom and at school.
Yes.
Awesome.
It's definitely an eye opener.
It is.
Okay, I guess I'll go next.
Look,
You ready? You got it, Kayla.
Let's stretch. I am Kayla Wilson. I am from Coffee County. I would tell y'all West Green, but it's teeny tiny. You would have to look it up. So I am also going to do a privilege walk. Mine is going to be a little bit modified also. So I just want to go over like what my objectives would be. One of the biggest things I want to say is if you don't feel comfortable raising your hand, because I'm going to have you raise your hand whenever, instead of going to a line. You don't have to. Like, absolutely do not feel pressured. The biggest thing I would want my students to take from this when doing it in the classroom is to understand the similarities and differences between themselves and others, to recognize the value of diversity among their peers, and to recognize the experiences of all children, because everyone's experience would be different. I do even have an essential question. How can I learn more about other people, and how are people similar and different than me? So in the classroom, if I was to do this, I would do a line similar to yours, Miss Bass, except I would just have the children walk up to the line, and then after the question's over, I would have them step back. So in this one, I'm just going to have you raise your hand, and then you put it down after each question. So, you have to bear with me. I have notes written everywhere. This would also, to me, be a good time to discuss vocabulary if we were doing it with, like, I teach 4th grade. And so I'd want to go through, like, maybe what a challenge is. A challenge is, a mental state that somebody has to overcome. Or that diversity is a variety, would be a wide range of things, such as your race, your religion, your gender. Outsider, that, an outsider is a person that maybe doesn't feel they belong or that they're a part of something. All right, so I'm going to kind of do my screen a little bit just so I can see my questions. All right, so whenever I ask or say this statement, I just want you to raise your hand. All right, this is have brown hair. All right. Have straight hair. Like to play outside. Speak another language. Like the color blue. Have a brother or sister. Enjoy listening to music. Have blonde hair. Enjoy watching movies. Like strawberry ice cream. Like playing video games. Like playing sports. Have dark eyes. Has lived in another state. Has lived in another country. Were born in this city. So if it was in the classroom, it'd be, I know we all live in different cities, but so who lives in Coffee County? Who lives in our city? Wears glasses. were born outside of the United States, are an only child, have 2 or more siblings, are afraid of something. Have you ever felt left out? Struggle in school sometimes. Sometimes don't know what to say. Think about what happens at home while you're at school. Worry about what you look like. Okay. And so after that, I would go in through the discussion. So how did it feel when you raised your hand?
Honorable.
Yes. Little.
Yeah.
Was there anything that surprised you?
Yeah, we raised our hand to a lot of the same questions.
At what point during the activity did you feel alone or isolated?
When my hand went up, when no one else's hand went up.
Yeah.
Alright. So at any point, did you see anything where you had more in common with others than you thought?
Yes.
Mhm.
Dark hair, dark eyes,
But yeah.
dark skin.
Born
Music.
in the U.S.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. What did you learn about your classmates?
We're the same.
Yeah, we're more the same than different.
Then different.
And different.
Yeah.
And so just like at this point, I would just go back to my I cans or my essential I always say I can statements, but I'd go back to my essential questions, how can I learn more about other people? So do you feel you learned more about the people in our group chat today?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely.
Did you find anything, or how are people similar and different than me? Did you notice any similarities and differences from the people that raised their hand? And
Mhm.
then, without honesty, I would use this activity as an activator to move into maybe something a little bit more in depth.
Mhm.
But I know that was short, but that was my activity.
That was good.
It worked.
And
Yeah, it
also,
was good.
I like the vocabulary at the very beginning.
Yeah. The
That was
breaking down
good.
of mhm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop the recording. Good.
We did it, y'all. We did it.